Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the V4 Future Sports Festival. How you doing, Hungary? It is so good to be back here in Budapest again. You guys are so lucky. You live in a beautiful city in a beautiful country. It is time, though, to get on with some Counter-Strike. Who's here for the Counter-Strike? I heard someone booing down there. League of Legends is the other way, mate. Other room. I'm glad that you're all here to enjoy this. It feels a little bit historical today because we've got our first quarterfinal between two legendary teams. And I'm back on stage doing Counter-Strike. Is this 2015? Seems odd. However, two legendary teams are waiting to play in front of you for a place in the semi-final here at V4 tomorrow. Our two quarterfinals today. Our first matchup, it couldn't get any bigger, could it? Two fantastic teams, both having a little wobble during the group stage, it has to be fair to be said. But one of these still inside the top 20, both still full of legends. So let's introduce you to our two teams. Our first team, this might be their last chance as a side, as a five-man side, to win a title. And I know there's quite a few fans in the audience. I can see the shirts all around me as well. So ladies and gentlemen, please give a very warm Swedish welcome to Ninjas in Pajamas! And as I said, it almost feels like we've gone back to 2015 or maybe even 2014, who knows? Virtus Pro are their opponents. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for the Polish team, Virtus Pro! Time to get a few words with a couple of the members of each team. Get right, do you want to come and join me, Kuban? It's like old times, friends. It's like old times being with two old mates playing Counter-Strike in the state. How are you doing, Chris? You all right?
Yes.
Okay, is this going to be one of those interviews again where you just keep saying the same yes?
Yes.
This really is like retro. We're going back to 2014 now. How was group stage for NIP?
Good.
Okay. Could it have been better?
Yes.
All right, I've had enough now. Kuban, what's he doing to me over here? How was Virtus Pro? A little bit rocky during the group stage?
Could be better.
Don't start doing the same as him, please. This needs to be a bit more words.
This is our plan.
This is the plan. Okay, you worked with this backstage. I'm getting shades of, where's Pasha? See, because this would be a Pasha interview right now. What would you say if Pasha was here?
What would Pasha say?
Yeah, what would he say?
Hello, Hungary. I love you, Hungary.
He probably would say that. Going up against Virtus Pro, they're not in the best of form right now. You guys are still inside the top 20. Presumably you start as the favourites in this game.
Yes.
Come on, man, give me something more.
Maybe.
It's about all we're going to get, ladies and gentlemen. The comedians, Get Right and Cuban. Gents, shake hands, best of luck. It's Virtus Pro versus NIP. Let's get it on.
It does feel a little bit retro, it has to be said. NIP going against Virtus Pro. Back in the day, this was a legendary clash over two titans that were battling for the top spot in the world. It's a very different context now.
Yeah. Yes.
All right, no. You're
not
not allowed to
continue
do
that
that
way.
too,
No,
okay?
no,
I
no,
will
no, no, no,
immediately
no.
banish you from the desk.
Fair enough.
Yeah, no, it's a rematch from Katowice 2014, right?
Yep.
Only 5 years, 5 and a bit later, right?
Yeah,
so,
absolutely.
Obviously, we only got 3 players from that time anymore left. VP versus NIP does sound great on paper, but obviously both teams with their woes. VP has been absent for quite a bit of time from the top echelon of Counter-Strike, and NIP with their own bane in terms of the lineup, we don't really know what the future holds. So in that sense, it's going to be an interesting one.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Only 3 players remaining from those original cores. That's, again, the changes that have been necessary and required. And interestingly enough, both these teams searching for a bit of an identity, because Virtus.pro's gone through everything from heartfelt failure to utter disappointment, I think, not only from the fans but from the players themselves. And then you've got an NIP, which fell a little bit slower, but just as far, and are starting the rebuild.
I don't know.
And let's hope NIP don't suffer from the same VP has suffered from, right? Because VP were one of the best teams in the world. They won a major. They were, by many considered, to be one of the most, fun teams to follow. The way they played Counter-Strike, all the names on the team as well. It was super, super fun to watch a VP game, despite them not always playing up to a good level. Whereas for NIP these days, it's starting to slide a little bit away. It's starting to get to a point where it's not even fun to watch them anymore, right? I don't know what it is within the NIP camp that is not working, but something needs to be solved. And a win against VP today would definitely help that.
Yeah, I thought VP was one of the most fun teams to watch and follow, just for the fact that they were so volatile. You never knew they could beat anyone, they could lose to anyone, any given Sunday.
Yeah.
So that's the fun part with that.
And it was, again, Snacks, a big part of that, was one of the most fun players to watch. Just to note again, quarterfinals, best of 3. Winner plays Mouse Sports tomorrow in the semi, so it's not an easy path to the final by any means, but as you say, this would be a step in the right direction for either team. And I think we have to start a little bit with NIP, because they came in late to this event. They had travel complications or other obligations, started the next day after everyone else. And it was really a question mark of identity within that team. We touched on this. We have other teams here with double op setups, and we've got MIBR that is switching their op setup, and then we've got Forest on the main op for NIP right now.
Let's try to take the positive angle for once in terms of NIP.
Well, I just was trying to cater to you.
I'm down.
This is a new pimp.
Plopsky.
Yeah.
Plopsky so far is having a decent tournament. He's sitting at a 1.15 rating, the highest rated player for NIP, which is also the same rating as the highest rated player for VP, which is Snatchy with 1.15. So he's having a good tournament so far individually, and that's a good thing for them, because that's a guy that needs to bring in, some firepower. He needs to bring in some frags, and he needs to elevate the players around him. And so far, he's doing that this tournament. Now, if we then quickly switch over to the negative, because there was a part...
Was waiting for you to do that.
That was the only positive thing I had to say. So it is what it is.
He tried. He did try.
I tried the best. But Forest on the AWP hasn't really been that efficient. He's been okay, but not to the level that we expect him to be. Get Right is having a decent tournament as well. That may count as a positive. And then you see the rest of the guys. He's supposed to be the superstar of this lineup. He hasn't been playing well for quite some time now, and that's a big problem for NIP.
He touches on a few good points. I wanted to bring up Plopsky, so I'm glad that you did, Jacob. But also, Get Right. We know that he was out the door, or potentially, and then they said we're going to put him on trial. The last time we saw this from sort of a top-tier organization was Zippix with Astralis, TSM even back in the day when they said they were going to get rid of him, and it lit a fire. Is it possible that Get Right has that motivation?
100%. I mean, they're the only ones inside that team that really know the truth and what's going to happen, what's been happening behind the closed doors. Of the way that it was kind of communicated was interesting, obviously, that he is kind of out the door. Maybe we'll see, we'll give him a couple opportunities to showcase that he has what it takes. Obviously, he does have what it takes to be a top-tier Counter-Strike player. Yeah. He's not able to just fulfill that right now, is the matter of the fact. But that is the same thing for everyone in this lineup. I think the issue is bigger than a Get Right. It's bigger than a Rez or any individual player. I think it's the composition of this lineup that is making the individuals in that lineup just play worse. Someone like Rez, for example, who I feel like has the power to be a player that takes reins and takes control of situations. I think he just does not have the system or the support around him for him to be the player.
I'll even throw Lekro into that mix, because he's the one that's kind of been tasked in-game leading at times, Pimp, and I think that's maybe where you want to go with this.
No, I'm glad you said it, right, because I agree with you. All these players on NIP, they have what it takes to be top-tier players. We've seen it before. In in doubts of Get right, we don't doubt for a second that he has the motivation in order to make a sip mix. The problem for them is they need somebody to elevate them. They need a leader on that squad, and we don't see that leader figure right now. Would they get that in some sort of change? Maybe. If not, then they need a leader to elevate the players that they have, and that could be the case for NIP.
And we touched on that in the show match, just talking about regions. Maybe Sweden doesn't have that leader in general right now. Perfect segue. This is something I wanted to bring up because we've got to talk a little bit about Virtus Pro, obviously. Mirage, Nuke, and then Inferno. Nuke formerly was a VP map, but Mirage has been their go-to in this event, and it hasn't been the best CT side.
It definitely hasn't. I mean, the T sides have been okay. They've been able to have these 8 to 10 rounds on the T sides. That sets you up for a great map, right? Obviously. But so far, what we've seen from VP on the CT side, that they've not willing to kind of read upon on what their opposition is doing and trying to be proactive, meaning that they will fight from middle, they will play aggressively towards the A-slow, for example, try to make different plays that would disrupt the way that the T's like to play. Instead, they've been just being manhandled, so to speak.
I think we're in for a close one on Mirage, no matter what. I was looking into the statistic and the history of VP playing Mirage. The past 7 times they played on Mirage, 6 of those games have either went to OT or went 16-13 to either team. So it's always close. We even saw it against Tricked as well in the first day. They were leading 13-5 and didn't manage to close that out and lost 16-14.
Is that not an issue though? If it's going to be your home map, I feel like if that was like the third map in a pool, or maybe the other team's map, great. Those are fine. You're going to have close games. But when it's your go-to, I don't know if that's good enough.
What are the alternatives, right? I mean, in the big picture, they're still in a phase.
I guess that's the issue, yeah.
That is the issue, right? Obviously, the map pool, you need to have at least a couple maps within that pool where you feel like you're every time delivered. Now, obviously, not every time, but, let's say 8 out of 10 times you're putting yourself in a position where you're capable of winning. Obviously, considering how close these matches have been on Mirage, they feel like they're in that position, but so far, at least what we've seen in this tournament, it might not be the one that they should go to.
Let's try to manage our expectations just a little bit for VP, because we do know that it's a big squad. It's a big name. It holds a lot of value. When you say VP is playing against NIP, people initially would expect a close affair. You would expect a fun match.
Fireworks.
VP is a team that hasn't been able to qualify for anything. VP is a team that is struggling, even making an appearance within the tier 3, tier 4 scene. They've rated, 80 in the world right now?
They're way down 90, I think.
Way out there. They've done absolutely nothing. So the fact that they're here now going up against NIP, it's more the case of them having a chance to actually make a mark of the scene. And if they were to lose, then we'll just forget about VP once again, which is not, I'd say it's even normal at this point.
You identified issues on the NIP side, lack of leadership, the star players not being activated. What is it with Virtus Pro? Because obviously Snacks is still there, but who else has to take the helm?
Lack of quality.
Yeah, and also, I don't know. I mean, you'd think to have Cuban as a coach who's just gone through the whole, basically the history of this team. He's been in the game for 20 years. Obviously, considering that he has gone through the original roster and he's been part of all these different iterations ever since, he should have the qualities to build something out of it, right? But to me, it feels like it's a lot of the times it's just to find little details. You see, especially on the CT sides, you notice that the players from VP put themselves in position where they're not comfortable. It's like they lack some kind of a, I don't know, if it's just like you kind of put your trust into being in certain corners, certain angles, but instead they get caught up in a lot of no man land situation where you end up in crossfires.
Is this the reset that VP needed? Because remember, Snacks was one of the first to leave. Taz as well. Obviously, Snacks went off to Mouse Sports for a little bit of time. They kept Biawi in the lineup, then they got rid of him. It was like they were trying to force a composition out of something, out of their old core, out of their old lineup, and it was stale. You've got Cuban still there, you've got Snacks back in. Is this enough of a reset for this team, or are they still trying to hold on to old habits?
It's growing pains, right? I mean, it's been such a long time that Golden Five was together that it kind of wiped all the newcomers out from the picture to being able to play anywhere even near to a tier 1 Counter-Strike. Usually how it goes is you'll have a couple of the old veterans that will teach the newcomers the ropes, how you do it, how do you elevate your gameplay from one point to the next level where you can actually compete with the best. And they've not really had that situation at all.
They did kind of a stranglehold for a long time. They had the longest contracts, longest 5-man roster, probably in the history of esports. I can't say that with fact, certainly in Counter-Strike. It did make it difficult to develop talent.
I'm so happy you brought it up, right? Because there was so much going on when they signed those contracts. People were admiring them. There were so many pros out there saying that this is the way to go. Even though you have a year where you don't perform, you still want to stick together. But in reality, that's not how sports work. That's not how it works within a team, right? You could see how much damage this team took by sticking to the same 5 players, even though it went bad and bad and bad and bad and bad. Sometimes you need refreshment. Sometimes you need to redefine yourself, I guess, and reinvent yourself, and these players wasn't able to do that. So I'm glad that they finally got rid of them, in a sense that it's okay to see Pasha move on. It's okay to see Tess trying out somewhere else, and it's okay to see Neo go to FaZe. That didn't work out either, but at least they were trying, and I think you got to give them a compliment for that, because there's so many teams out there that just refuse to even try, and that's a big problem.
Yeah, and Pash was saying recently in an interview, it's great to be home with the family, but he misses the game. Of course. Neo seems to be still clinging to the Tier 1. He wants to make it work. Like you say, it didn't. Taz is an interesting one because he could become someone that could foster some younger talent. He could become sort of the elder statesman within that scene.
Yeah, I mean, he's got leadership qualities. We've all known that. We've all seen that, the way that he demonstrates himself, how he acts in pub, PR, everything. You know, he's just a natural leader, and I feel like he's the right kind of person to be teaching the youngsters how things are supposed to be done.
All right, we're getting very close to getting into map number 1, Mirage, Virtus Pro's pick. Jacob, I didn't do it in the group stages, but we're going to start pressing for predictions. Where are you leaning?
Sure. I think it's going to be a close one, given the fact that we do know that VP always makes it close on Mirage. I would be highly disappointed if NIP was not able to take this 1-2-0 by then also winning Mirage. This is a team that needs some confidence. They need to believe in themselves. And if we want to see them take on a fight against Mouseboards in a potential semifinal, they need to make sure that they do this clean and efficiently against VP. VP right now is not a team that should be able to compete with NIP. It should be 2-0 for them.
Yeah, I mean, I would see Snatchy being a guy who can plus a couple of rounds. I see VP getting a few out of that, but NIP should definitely be taking this.
All right, NIP is the way we're leaning. We will jump into the game. Mirage, map number 1 in Budapest, and to bring you the action, it's Jason Kaplan and Tom Biz.
And it's going to be such an exciting match as well. I cannot wait to get this underway as we saw both teams progress throughout the actual group stage. Both teams struggling, getting here just barely. And we think back to NIP's game versus Abakashik.
Yeah.
They went to overtime on Train off a 1v2 at a get right. Otherwise, they would have lost that map. And who knows what would have happened in that series.
Yeah, that's one thing I do want to say about the series we did see from them. Granted, it was against sort of like lesser teams in some regard, or other than the match that they actually lost. But Get Right seemed to be playing pretty well. Like, he had some decent plays, some impactful plays, and with hearing the news that the Rez is feeling quite under the weather today, they're going to need someone like that to step up. We're going to need to see those big plays out from Forrest. So there was the aggressive 4K he managed to get in one of the rounds, and even getting picks with the AWP. We need some of the other players to step up. I think you'll have Plopsky, maybe some of the rounds you'll have Lekro, but I think the two older guys need to sort of show their experience here and really play well.
And to be fair, I mean, out of both teams we did see, they both struggled in their initial matches, but when they went on to play against like tougher opponents, statistically, they both came to rise to the occasion. But now we're kicking off our first map. It's the pistol round, Virtus Pro on the T side, NIP on the CT. And we can already see it's going to be a big A hit here. Lek already missing the first couple of shots as they're going to rush him down.
Yeah, quick trade early on. They've gained that CT control, which is going to make things a little bit more difficult for the Ninjas in the retake. Forrest already spots them, getting very aggressive, in fact. They want to take the fight versus him here. Mihu going to be able to pick one off already. And they're just trying to hold on to this position. It makes it impossible for the rest of the retake, and it's left all on to Rez, trying to get himself back into this round, but there are 4 players to find. Well, make that 3, but he switches away from his pistol. He's given another chance, but with the firing squad of Virtus Pro, they'll get themselves the pistol.
The problem with Mirage for NIP is that they played it 2 times over the last 3 months and have lost both times against Sprout and against Na'Vi. Look at Virtus Pro, they played it 10 times and have won, or at a 70% win rate. So clearly it's going to be a very strong map for them. But I do worry about NIP and their mentality going into the series. Going on to Inferno as the last map, I honestly couldn't tell you what way it's going to go, but to be fair, after seeing NIP play against MIBR, even though they did lose the map, when they kind of shouldn't have, I still feel like they should be the favorite team, at least in that map, if we do get there, obviously.
Yeah. I was kind of hoping NIP would play with the veto a little bit more, because both teams don't play Vertigo. So they may have been able to leave it in Ban Mirage and then have slightly better pull. Forrest, his aggression this time not going to be paying off. Plopsky unable to connect either. He knows that they're close at least, but peeking in with the scout would be a high risk. Then again, in this round, they don't have the best of purchases. It's a 4 buy just to sort of set them up for the eco in the next round and then allow them to get the better buy later into this map. However, they can still look to do some damage. They've left Get Right as a solo Mag 7 player. We've seen that out from Snacks on the other side earlier in the tournament, but if they do go in that direction, this position is very difficult to defend.
Well, they're going to be rushing straight in towards site. Snatchy going to be leading the charge, trying to check out every single angle of where someone could possibly be. And Get Right will get the first kill on the Veggie and a second on the PHR. The scout shots out of Plopsky are good. The assists are coming through. And NIP get the first 3 kills of the round. However, Snacks is still going to be here and turn it down to a 2-on-2.
they'll take some market control, but not actually spot out Rez's position. An important duel one, and leaves it all onto Rez once again. Slightly less opponents, needs to try and make the jump across, and that's going to waste a lot of time from getting around. Luckily, it took them a while to get the bomb down at least. So he's going to have space to make a play. The problem is there isn't really any better weaponry for him to have, and Snacks is just going to close out this round. Triple kill for him, an important one at that. And now, well, financially, NIP aren't really going to be able to do anything.
And Tom, looking back to Virtus Pro when they played up against Mirage, or sorry, Tricked on Mirage, we saw them utilize mid-control so much. And I wonder if NIP are going to use that information as maybe we should contest them more middle. Are they going to feel confident going up against Snatchy? Again, NIP, a team that doesn't have necessarily that dedicated opera that they can use, that ops specialist, I guess we can say, since Force is the one who has picked it up. But we've seen Virtus Pro be able to use double up quite well. And Snatchy, on the T side, has been able to be pretty damn aggressive. And even on his CT side, able to hit quite a few good shots. So I wonder how NIP are going to go about the whole middle section of this map. If they're going to give it up for free and play a little bit more passive, or if they'll give it more control. But they do have obviously just a couple of pistols bought up here, so not really expecting too much, but for an NIP fan out there, obviously hoping they can do something with this.
Yeah, the problem is in these sort of rounds, it's really difficult to defend the majority of positions, so you just take a little bit of aggression, you take some risks, and wow, this is just what Snacks does, isn't it? He's got him behind them. There's no way Get Right's going to be expecting that. That's the one defender of this site gone. Sure, Plopsky's still lurking, so maybe he can catch Snatchy out as he looks to rotate, but the thing is, his role is to just hold out any rotations. And well, now they're going to start hunting players down. They want to get that extra cash off the back of the MAC-10. It's not really integral that this weapon is brought into the next round. Legro will at least be able to gain a little bit extra, and although it only seems like 1 kill, that's a weapon dropped and $300 put into his pocket. Something that maybe buys him an extra smoke. And considering their loss bonus isn't massive at this point, only really starting to get rolling, every little helps.
You can see Plopsky there, he has a Zeus. He was waiting for such a long time for someone to cross his path so he can maybe pick up a weapon. But unfortunately, with the rotation that did come through out of Virtus Pro, they secure the 3 AKs. I think NIP are really going to have an opportunity to get anything off of this. They still pick up 2 kills. Again, they still keep the pressure on, do a decent amount of damage to the economy of Virtus Pro. And that will be round 3 now taken for VP.
Yeah. At least they keep the rifles. I think that's the most important thing.
I mean, they recovered a MAC-10 for NIP. Plopsky was able to pick it up in the last second, so technically...
I hope he drops it.
I mean, he did, but I was wondering if they may try to utilize it somewhere.
Not really worth it in this scenario. But yeah, Snacks being sneaky. I think that's good early on as well, because he's the man that we sort of see as like the potential star, even though he doesn't really put himself in that position. But if he can start having the big plays we've seen from him in the past, who knows what can happen. Early aggression though, the tease.
Maybe I'm wrong in this, but I feel like Stacks and Force are kind of in similar positions, kind of playing roles that they're not necessarily going to excel at as much as they possibly could if they were in others. Snacks can be a playmaker. We know Force can as well. We saw him do that up against MIBR with the rifle. And look at this Rez pushing through. Will the timing work out for him, or will it work against him? As Virtus Pro are just setting up still for a potential B-side take, but they're trying to bait out aggression out of NIP. Oh, and you can just see Rez, he just wants to go for this. There's so many juicy targets for him to take, and he might have actually found the window. He's going to start to rush up as Virtus Pro pick up the pace. He gets the bomb down, actually, and they have to turn around and come back for this one. If Rez can just stay alive and buy some time, it might be good for NIP. He gets a 3rd as well. The reinforcements are coming in. The P250 coming out, not able to get much off of that, but the damage is done. And NIP do have a massive advantage in this round.
I don't know how Virtus Pro are actually going to rectify this. By the looks of things, they're just going to go pushing in towards Get Right. Patiently waiting for this, and Veggie will get 1, but I think that might be all she wrote. A peek back in. They've got the crossfire ready, and they'll be closed out in the end. The Ninjas are onto the board, and it's purely off the back of Rez.
I mean, when Rez tweeted he was feeling under the weather, I didn't mean he meant that he was sick in game right now. 3 kills in the perfect window to come through. The amount of time he bought with this as well was phenomenal. NIP do take their first gun round. And again, I'm curious, is Forrest going to pick up the op in the later rounds? Is he going to contest Snatchy? Are they going to utilize him on the T side? Or Snatchy have his number. You can see just sitting back in window. A little bit of pressure from Connector and from Short, so they're definitely not trying to give this up for free.
It's interesting. We actually saw when Cloud9 played this map, like when they were one of the best teams in the world of Mirage, a lot of the time they played more passive angles and didn't necessarily need the AWP as to be the hero as such. It was more Skadoodle just making sure that he did hit his shots at the right time. So maybe it will be sort of brought in as a utility weapon later on. Snacks trying to be sneaky once again, but this time Rez is there. He has got off to a pretty decent start within this match. T-side, though, they're going to try and brute force this in towards that A-side, but it isn't working out. Rez, already another triple kill coming in for him, leaving it all onto Snatchy, and there's nothing he can do. Maybe this was all a bit of a ploy, because he's playing very well so far this game.
7 kills to his name, back-to-back triple kill rounds. And Virtus Pro are going to have to save in this. So we should see it equalizing at 3 apiece. A lot of potential chance here for NIP to get their economy rolling. You have Get Right at 4,700. You got Forrest at 45, but Lekro is missing out on some money. So is Rez. But a good start here. I do like how they put so much pressure on middle. 3 players watching that angle. I mean, obviously, Snacks kind of give him a little bit of a freebie, pushing the smoke into Connector, but either way, able to maintain control and try to really constrict the avenues that Virtus Pro typically like to attack with.
Rez as well has been playing with a lot of confidence around mid. His job is pretty much to just dominate that whole connector. In this round, of course, not really too much invested. And it seems like Virtus Pro are somewhat hesitant as to where they're even going. They've now made 3 different decisions, maybe talking things through for the next round. That is something that teams used to do quite a lot in the past. Instead, they're going to look to try and pressurize mid, maybe as a bit of an elaborate ruse. They want that bomb plant, that's the big thing, but Rez just continuing on his tear. 9 kills already. If they can overwhelm Lekro, then they have a bomb plant. But that may be easier said than done. I think they're going to need PHR to find the shots, and Forrest rotates in almost at the perfect time. They're not going to expect Lekro here either, such an off angle. And NIP, a flawless round, bolstering that economy. But now we have the buys back.
Not enough money to buy up the op on the T side as well. I do like the choice out of NIP to stick mostly to the rifles here and not put Forrest back on the op. Fluidity that the rifle provides him and be able to move around the map and hold different angles, I feel like is really benefiting NIP. Nade comes in, starting to push up middle here, trying to get some ground connectors. Got 2 players in it. Maybe who's going to get the first? Topsy's not actually going to see him push into that smoke towards Short. Will Get Right even notice he's going to be sitting towards the back of sight. What he's going to know now is bolts fly past his head. Luckily, not really connecting too much. But Virtus Pro are just getting these picks left and right and center.
And they're now going to fall back into more of a default take of the site. There's actually nobody within the site either. They're so busy trying to battle within middle that the rotation will eventually now come in, and they have got a couple of kills back. This is starting to look a little bit more possible. Get Right sat within the corner waiting patiently, but the timing again, it's the reverse rolls as the push through the smoke doesn't work for NIP, and Snacks is there to close things out. The T's do break back once the buys come in. However, things have been so clean for the Ninjas.
Yep.
This is going to be a comfortable purchase. And you asked the question earlier, Jason, is Forrest going to pick up that AWP? Well, in fact, there's going to be 2. Lekro's got one as well.
I think the problem is that Virtus Pro haven't really been giving angles for the op to work, at least in middle. They've been using a lot of smokes off to the window to get some ground. Connector is staying smoked off as well. I wonder how Lekro's actually going to be able to utilize it over towards the A side. We can see he's going to be left alone. And again, heavy presence out of NIP with 2 players moving over towards Short to maintain this middle position. Seems like a standard kind of execute here out of Virtus Pro. 2 players in towards Palace. 3 over towards Ramp. Everything being thrown in except the bodies, and there we go. They finally start to move in out of Palace.
Yeah, this almost has to be a retake straight off the bat, just based off the positions being held. Have at least done a little bit of damage. In fact, Rez, through the edge of the smoke, has been able to lower the HP of these players. The dunk not quite reaching, and they actually had an additional smoke.
They haven't even gotten the bomb down yet. They've used all their utilities, so how are they going to hold once they get the bomb planted? NIP can just walk through without the help of any smokes to block off their vision, and the bomb still hasn't gone down. Forrest gets a kill on a PHR. I don't know what's going on the side of Virtus Pro, and NIP are cleaning this up before they even have a chance. I'm not even going to say that. They had a chance to plant the bomb, but they didn't even go for it. And NIP are going to tie it up at 4 again.
A messy, messy round for VP, and well, you give that much space over to the Ninjas. That's the worry, though. Like, the strategy they actually pulled in on Virtus Pro was perfect. There were 2 AWPs for NIP. Like, retaking in that scenario would have been horrific, but they get some shots through the smoke. That's just disgusting. Didn't see it from his point of view before. But because of that, the bomb is not planted. I think that's what actually denied it as well. Now look at the buy coming in for Virtus Pro. And Mac 10, aggression coming in from Forrest, looking for that early pick, and he's going to get it as well. Some confidence plays out from the veteran. It's Snacks to fall on the other side. Also, they've handed an SG over to Rez, which is probably the last thing they wanted to do. Give him more of an ability to try and dominate that mid portion. And, well, once again, I'm getting some flashbacks. It's just going to be these consistent A executes. The only difference is they need someone like Snatchy to be getting the entries. That was something he was so good at in their previous matches. The problem I'm having is they're playing against better opposition.
Yep, and they also haven't even utilized an AWP on the T side yet. So Snatchy hasn't been able to go head-to-head up against Forrest. Flash out, Hucker's gonna miss the shot and get spammed down through the box. Rez with the SG is trying to come alive for his team, but eventually picked off down to 3-on-3. Forrest a little bit of a fluff nade, but doesn't really cost him anything. The Ninjas staying huddled together. Gonna wrap around in towards CT spawn. Bomb goes down, and Veggie hits a crucial shot onto Get Right.
Yeah, this retake now becomes quite a bit more difficult. The small amount of utility they have has been expended, and you can see just passive positions being held. They don't want to give anything up, and they won't. Veggie with a big round. 4 kills to his name, and really puts himself onto the board. And the backwards and forwards nature of this game continues, and now the economy of NIP does start to suffer a bit. We remember that double AWP setup that we were talking about.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a costly one.
Well done by Virtus Pro too, considering they had, I think, like 2 smokes, and that was it to take the site when they were already down a man up against NIP from the initial pick that Forrest got.
They had Mac 10s as well. There was a couple of Mac 10s in there. I think luckily one of them went down very early, so they got to keep the AKs. But yeah, that was a pretty poor buy. They had a man disadvantage, and they managed to come out clearly on top. So definitely something needing to change for the Ninjas if they are going to be able to rack up these rounds. Now, it has to be said, the main problem with this map for VP, from what we've seen all the way through this tournament, is their CT side. Like the T side, they were racking up a decent amount of rounds. They were just throwing it away. So obviously there's still wiggle room no matter what happens from here on out for the Ninjas, but you have to hope that they get more rounds on the CT side. You don't want to be the one team that then VP goes, actually, today we're having a good CT side.
Well, again, no up for Virtus Pro in round number 10. The middle control presence out of NIP still there, though they've alleviated some of the players as Forrest is actually rotated back towards the B site like we've seen before. Virtus Pro more than happy to play this slow kind of style. Again, trying to wait out the aggression out of NIP.
Yeah, this is much more patient from the Swedes as well. They've taken some decent positions. Plopsky maybe about to check to see if there's anybody below the window. Well, there isn't for now. Smoke gonna have to go down again from Virtus Pro, and I think they were expecting a little bit more aggression. They do check for Plopsky though. An important opener into the round. Almost getting another as well. The sound will be made. The peek back in from Rez, but he doesn't get anything from it other than flames. And now, just look at where this play is going towards. Get Right knows it. He spotted them. He's just trying to survive at the back of the site. He knows he has to buy as much time as humanly possible if his team are going to stand any chance in this round. And they're desperately looking for him. There he goes. And now the CT side, they almost have to save. They've got no space. Rez tries to fight it, and he's gone as well. Forrest and Letcrow, they've just got to get out of there. In fact, Forrest is not even budging. He knows this round is over.
Very clean round out of Virtus Pro. Mihu getting that phenomenal kill against Plofsky, opening things up.
He's been good today so far, and as said, in history at least, when you look at, say, for example, Kingwin, some of the old teams that he played on, Mirage was a map that he could dominate. Now, there weren't a whole lot of them, and obviously this is not the sort of opposition he would normally be playing, like that was within Tier 2, Tier 3 Counter-Strike. But we haven't seen that side of Mihu yet, where he can just be that hero player, where he can take over the match. And if they get it today, that would be a scary time for Ninjas in Pajamas.
Yeah. That'd be the perfect time to make it happen, right? Build up into the tournament, don't peak too early. Considering this is just one of the hard matches you have to play over these next 2 days. If you win this, you play against Mouse Sports.
Yeah.
The favorites to win the entire tournament.
You've got to be everyone to win.
It's not true.
You've got to beat most people to win.
Well, let's see. It looks like since Forrest is able to maintain the up from the last round, look for him to be the big playmaker. I think they obviously should try to utilize him in a way that they can get some picks with it. Or if anything, if he goes down, be able to retrieve it. Looks like the timeout has finished up, and we'll be getting back into this. 6-4 in favor of Virtus Pro. And they're starting to look good. I like how they're starting to peek into this. The thing is, you look at PHR, he's 0-7.
Yeah, which it does seem that his spot in this team, he's always seems to be at the bottom. Like, it hasn't really worked so far. I don't think he's been particularly well implemented, and I think if things do go wrong, I reckon he would probably be the change.
Well, the thing is, I'm not even necessarily saying he's 0-7 in a bad way, because they're still winning 6-4.
That's true.
Even with him not getting any kills yet. Imagine if he did come online, what would the scoreline be like? So again, Forrest trying to use him with this AWP, might actually have a shot here. Not going to connect, unfortunately. But I feel like he knows he has to make something happen, that he has the only rifle of the team.
Yeah, for sure. This is pretty much all on his shoulders. Oh, okay. Can he get away with the AK? No, he can't. Even still, that's a worthwhile trade. That reduces the amount of weaponry opposing them in a trade for a Zeus. Not bad at all. The problem is Getright's also gone down. The only man defending this B site once again. And I think VP have known that. Snacks, he's been trying so much to get through these smokes, and this time it works for him as well. And now Forrest is going to rotate in the wrong direction. It's just going to be about saving this orb once again. Something extra for the next round that they won't be able to afford if he doesn't keep it. The question on my lips, at least, is whether or not they're going to go rotating. Are they going to go looking for this orb?
Right. I mean, it wouldn't be a terrible shout considering the money that they do have. They also have to think into the future if the money still will be there if you do lose out on 1 or 2 players and you do lose the following round. It looks like they're potentially going to go chase. I mean, there's like 25 seconds left on the bomb. Everyone's starting to spread out. They're trying to gather information of where he's going to be. And let's see how many Forrest can take down. Well, add 2. Making it very costly for the T side of Virtus Pro. I think maybe now they're starting to think, okay, maybe we should just back off. Maybe we should give him his room. Let him keep the offense the next round.
Just checking he hasn't gone for it. Very far away, of course. And he will be allowed to save that AWP. Virtus Pro again showing that their T side of this map is the stronger.
It's definitely a force to be reckoned with. I mean, considering we have not seen Snatchy on the off still, just running and gunning with the AKs, you obviously see when the decision's made, they do go quickly. They don't take their time looking for picks.
I think it was a part of when they played earlier in the tournament, though. He was playing with the AK quite often, in fact. It was only when it was necessary, but he has brought it in, maybe knowing that Forrest has one on the other side and looking for that early counter, and Forrest is hoping to find himself a pick in mid, a bit of a more aggressive stance from the AWP, but he gets destroyed for it. Mihu again. Another impactful kill from him. The AWP will be gone for the rest of the round.
Virtus Pro are starting to win control over middle consistently in these rounds, where NIP, the success came in these 4 rounds from that middle position. Of course, Rez getting back-to-back triple kills didn't hurt. But even with this man advantage, you can see how cautious Virtus Pro are being about this. There's really no utility to use on NIP's side to delay. There's no smokes, or there's one smoke, but there's no Molotovs to come in. There's gonna be a lot of pressure on GetRight, who was able to save the op from Forest. And he does have some support this time, which has been very different to what NIP has been doing. Snatch is gonna get the shot onto GetRight. Rotation of Plopsky will come in, as well as the rotation from Lecker through CT spawn, but Virtus Pro still taking their time. Plopsky gets the first, trying to spray into the second. What a shot out of him! But Snatchy will finally shut him down. 3-on-2 now for Virtus Pro, 30 seconds to go. And they're just gonna close it out in frags. So well done by them. 8-4 now for Virtus Pro. I think the funny thing about VP is you don't know what kind of team's gonna show up that day. So we know they can play against a lot of these top teams and put out some big surprises, and then they play against teams that they should be beating, like E-Rivals, and then they struggle for some reason.
That has been something within this roster forever. Even when they were like the world beaters, like one of the best teams in the world, they would still struggle against smaller opposition. But hey, this would be one hell of a series to win. As it was mentioned on the desk, if you think about the history of Virtus Pro, sure, that maybe this is an even matchup. Recent history, not even close. NIP should be the one taking the lead in this. Mihu, he's been great. Those entry kills have been so valuable for the team, and they have just wiped down the defense of NIP. Not one player getting anything done. GetRight just left. Still in the spawn, waiting, hoping that someone hands him a rifle. Gives them a bit of a bonus for the next round, but the fact is the loss will be doing it enough. They'll have the finances for the next one at least, but it doesn't seem to matter.
I think Virtus Pro have done a good job of adapting to the way that NIP were holding middle. Then again, we haven't seen that three-man stack in quite a long time. And we did see Forrest in mid in the round prior. He got taken down by Mihu. Great little AK shot to the dome. I'm wondering, maybe it's time for some mid-aggression. Maybe push a couple of players up, look for an early kill or two, and then back away. Keep Virtus Pro in check. Don't give him the free reign over that part of the map.
Yeah, I think it just, the big problem is NIP are not getting any information. Like, if you know almost every single execution or every single late round play the VP go for, there has only been 1 or 2 players on the site maximum. We haven't had any like 4-man stacks. We haven't had any sort of reads coming out from them. Most of the time, it just seems like the calls from Virtus Pro have been spot on. Like, think of the amount of times that GetRight has been the last defense, or they've just run into the A site and dominated in those early picks. Like, it's been fantastic from Virtus Pro, but the Ninjas haven't done anything about it. It's only really been Forest, and while now they are doing exactly what you said, they're trying to take some control away. Maybe a little bit late in the half, but there's still a chance to get it back to 6. And as said, from what we've seen from the VP defense on this map so far, that could be enough.
Well, with the triple stack at middle out of NIP, technically even a quad stack is Plopsky's in quick rotation if they need be. And they have no one at the A site. They're heavily, I mean, just talked about stacks on one of the sites that have been going for it. The information wasn't there. Forrest is gonna have a lot of information as they come in through underpass. Importantly, he escapes with his life, and Rez is there to help lock them down. But Mihu again, able to take down Lekro, but it seems to be going all the way of NIP. PHR still on 0 kills, unfortunately, but still on 7 deaths, funny enough.
That's not much to do.
Exactly.
If Mihu runs in and just gets all the openers, there's only the cleanup left, but this will be a round to steal. Surrounded in middle, but it has given some space for Veggie. Not going to be able to dominate, but there is PHR. Can't do anything more, though. It's left onto Veggie, and they can't do anything. A much better round coming out from the Ninjas, and as you said, it came down to just taking away that control, not allowing Virtus Pro to have all of the map.
I do think there was one little iota of luck, though, that came into it, considering the stack they did have towards middle and B. But then again, playing for the retake, not playing for the contestation. And to be fair, originally they were able to contest, but I think for the most part, they've been playing retake. When we've seen the smokes go down, like when they had the double op set up, and retaking with that. This time, just playing for the full retake towards A if they need it. But eliminating this avenue for Virtus Pro to use to migrate between the B and A site. time, a little bit of a different story, as we can see. NIP keeping 2 players a little bit more aggressive. Lecker over towards ramp. Rez going to be sitting tucked away in the site.
Yeah, and also a bit of an interesting setup from VP. This could be a direct counter to what we actually saw in the last round, which they've gone for a double AWP, like on the T side of Mirage. Not something you see very often, but if you look at the way they're actually playing, they are 100% just holding, watching for picks, and there is the one they wanted. Snatchy finds the opener, and just look at this defense. They're somewhat caught. There's nobody back towards CT. Sure, they have the players on the site, which may actually help them. Aggression from Lekro will actually net them one back, but he's been tagged at the same time, and by the looks of it, VP are just going to try and execute onto this site. Mihu's got both players, gets rid of all of the A-site defenders, and leaves just Plopsky and Get Right rotating back in. Maybe there's a kill in middle, and Plopsky does at least get that. It will give them a chance back into this round. However, Get Right, he throws that smoke just to try and give him a little bit of an angle. He's not going to find anything. The bomb is planted at least. Veggie waiting around. He knows that there's someone here. Tag hit, but it's execution of Plopsky. And now Get Right left in a 1 versus 3. Nothing he can do. A great round from Mihu. And VP end the half with 10.
10-5 scoreline. I don't think you can ask for anything better than that for Virtus Pro. I know you've been mentioning over the course of this first half that Virtus Pro known for not being too good on the CT side, but 10, you have to imagine.
It is identical, though, to when they played against Tricked. 10-5 half, win the pistol, 13-5, lose the map. Now, I will say that from the form we've seen from Tricked, I've been really impressed. Like, I don't actually want to take that much away from VP. I don't think they played well, but I think Tricked actually played very well. And I think they're sort of the dark horse at the moment within this tournament, because everyone else has the sort of players that have the highest skill ceiling, whereas I think Tricked are the only team here at the moment who are in form.
Yeah, and you look at, a Core, for instance, on the team. Like, he was hitting some phenomenal shots, and he really punished Snatchy in that first day of games. But Virtus Pro have been looking better, I'd say, every day of this tournament as we're into day 3. But like you said, they were up 10-5 against Tricked and then won the pistol round, and they just struggled to close out the match from there.
But this is also the moment where the pace gets to be set by the Ninjas. They're the ones switching over to the T side. At the moment, it seems like they've been playing Virtus Pro's game. Like they were countering into middle. They had to start getting aggressive just to try and find information. And in the end, Virtus Pro countered that in the last round by buying a double AWP and just sitting back and not doing anything. So from here, we actually get to see maybe some of the strategy that Peter's been building. Of course, we talk about in-game leading within this scene, or within this team at least, and how it doesn't seem like there's anybody who wants the role. Like, obviously, it's hard to say what's going on within the team at the moment, but Lekro is not like the born in-game leader. He's not the person that has been gunning for that role. In fact, a lot of the time you see him as more of an entry fragger, as someone who could be a rising talent that has maybe been given a job he doesn't necessarily want. So it'll be interesting to see if he's going to step up. Get Right, someone I highlighted has been having a good tournament so far, has had the quietest half-tour map I think we've seen all the way through the tournament.
Two of his 3 kills are actually from the Max 7 that he had at the B-side defense when him and Plopsky connected together. So
a bit cheesy. It's not really something you can put in as a positive. Like, it's just nice, it looks good, but you're not going, oh yeah, no, the 2 Max 7 kills make up for the lack of everything else.
And Get Right was one of the key players to actually get NIP even here. He was able to win out the 1v2 clutch up against their match on train against Avakashik to just throw them into overtime where they otherwise would have lost out on that map. But again, just the first half of the series, the first map, about to get underway with our second. We're heading into the pistol round. Virtus Pro with a 10-5 lead on Mirage. And let's see if the Ninjas can take some rounds back.
Well, it's going to be completely opposing and a fast play in towards this site. Mihu ready and waiting. Veggie already closes out one, and VP have just absolutely dominated the pistol round. The Ninjas are gone within seconds. They wanted that as the start, but the Poles didn't give them anything.
NIP living up to their name. I didn't even see the Ninjas at all on that map. Every shot connecting for Virtus Pro, and that's got to be the start they wanted. That's got to get the morale high within the team. I mean, to be fair, that's basically what Virtus Pro did against NIP in their T-pistol round. Except they got a lot further, obviously, and, well, won the round.
Well, absolutely nothing for Ninjas in Pajamas in this round. Normally you'd buy maybe a P250 if you got a kill in the previous, but considering how dominant that was, they've had to just take the hit, take the save. This may just be used as sort of a free tactical pause for them, just sort of like talk this one over while the CT side just look to make as much cash as they can. They know that there's a buy coming in the next one. The firing squad will do nothing. Yeah, it's going to be flawless again, back-to-back clean rounds for Virtus Pro. But this is where the Swedes now get their buy.
You know, Veggie, we talked about, you know, Snatchy and Muhu and Snack starting to step up, but Veggie as well. I mean, thinking back to their match on Nuke against Tricked, he got caught in Hut so many times, and he was kind of like a linchpin where when he died, they started to lose the rounds. And they actually lost that match 8-16. But he's been stepping up, 16 kills for this man. And PHR having a little bit of a rough game so far, but they're winning 12-5, so I don't think he's gonna care that much.
He got one. He's on the board, at least.
Yeah, it's better than we would do.
I don't know.
The NIP still fully invested into this round. They have the AKs and 8 shots like that. Forrest takes the head off Mihu. Gonna be pushing in towards window. They do have support if Edgy peeks a little bit wide. Being very cautious about this, and actually he has some own backup of himself. Snatchy's gonna be there, but well, Snatchy was there as Get Right gets 2. This is what we need to see out of NIP for them to come alive, is Get Right to wake up. Now a 5 onto an M4 and an SMG. And Forrest is gonna win that. So well done by NIP. The problem is the bomb is actually way backed in towards spawn, so it's not that they can plan off of this, but they want the gun. They want to take away the economy, and they've done it. Klopsky rounds off the final kill. And NIP are gonna be on the board here in the second half.
Yeah, it's worth noting as well that Rez has also slowed down. Like, he was on 9 kills very early. What was it, like 2 or 3 rounds in?
Yeah, 2 rounds in a row, we got back-to-back 3Ks.
Since then, he's only had 4 kills. So there's definite need for a step up. As said, it looked like, based off the information we had before the match, that we're going to need Forrest and Get Right to have a decent game. Get Right almost getting the same amount of kills he did in the last half, combining to win them. And now we're just going to see actually a half buy from Virtus Pro. Obviously, quite far in the lead at this point, not really needing to take a massive risk and invest everything and go for what will be a poorer buy. Instead, they are going to save the money and make sure they can get a decent purchase into the next round. For this one, they're just going to try and stack up. 3 players into the B site. In fact, it looks like they're going to rotate the full team here. And if you look at the map, it seems like the Ninjas are going to go into the crossfire. This is one of the only ways they can actually lose this round. And that's by just not having the information as to where Virtus Pro are, making their way forward. Letcro does get the opener, but the tag's still being hit. Mihu's got 1. This is trading evenly at the moment, and Snacks is just hitting everything with that scout. This is a problem, but they rectify it. Veggie's still here, though. He's been good so far. He can deny the plant. Doesn't know where the other players are. Hits a second shot as well. Leaves it down to Rez to save the Ninjas. This is only a half buy, and it'll save them at least. But that came way too close.
Veggie again, 18 frags for him. Almost able to pull off the clutch in a 1-on-3. NIP have to be very happy they're able to win that by the skin of their teeth. It's going to cost them a lot of money to re-buy up into this next round. But like you said, Snacks was hitting shot after shot after shot, weakening up the Ninjas. Still a very scary round for NIP. 12-7, VP still in the lead by 5. And now we see the BAP come in. Snatchy, that's the man I'm watching on the AWP. It's very crucial for him to hit his shots earlier on in their match up against Tricked. He's been having a pretty good performance, though. This is only like the 2nd or 3rd time we've actually seen him on the op. And there we go, gets the first on to Get Right.
Already a 2-man advantage. Forrest knowing he has to make some sort of play here. Looks to get aggressive, but loses the battle. Leaves Lekra and Rez to try and sort this one out. They do at least get a bomb plant, which will help a lot, in fact. Just remember how much damage was done in the last round. All that bonus money is gone. Lekra with a nice shot, though. Rez finds one back. This is starting to look possible for the Ninjas. They line up, but there's no kill, and it's all left on to Lekro. Veggie again with a big performance within this round will gain their 13th. And it does seem like the crowd are swinging into the Poles' favor here.
Veggie on 21 kills now. 18 for Mihu, 16 for Snatchy, 11 for Snacks. We're not going to talk about PHR at the moment. NIP, a sliver of hope in that round too with the shots that were hitting, but Veggie doesn't want to let that happen. He wants to close out this map, move over to Nuke. And let's see, NIP, SG bought up. Again, a really shoddy buy for the team. And luckily for them, there's really not too much presence over towards this B site. Luckily, the op is actually over towards Connector. So if they can take down Snacks, they have a real chance to lock this down. A perfect flashbang comes through, forces Snacks to change his position. I guess it helps him out because he gets the first kill. Mihu as well chimed in on a Forest, and now the Ninjas are being cornered, but GetRight has something to say about it.
Even still, it's another position where VP are just so far into the lead. GetRight, he's trying to fight this back, but I don't think there's anything they can do here. It's left to Lekro. 1v3, he's at least caught the first. Mihu fairly low. And if a shot is missed from that AWP, maybe there's a chance. Mihu tries to use that smoke to his advantage, though. He's going to switch up his position. The jump up comes in, but he misses, gives away the spot. Still plenty of time for Lekro to play with as he looks to cross. Snatchy will end him. 14-7. The mistakes not looking like they're going to be created this time from Virtus Pro. And the Ninjas, they don't even have the cash to buy.
They got no money, 2,000 on every player. If they can't win this with a force up, then that's going to be Virtus Pro on map point. And honestly, we talked about Mihu. He has stepped up here as the map's gone on. He is performing so well, him and Veggie together. 41 kills between the two players on Virtus Pro. And they can almost smell the first map.
It's going to be a tactical timeout. I think everybody just listening to what Peter has to say, trying to give them some words of wisdom to maybe turn this one back. But definitely not smiles on the faces. This is as solemn as it gets.
Thing is, for my eyes, Virtus Pro is not really necessarily winning off like good executing teamwork. It's just someone steps up in every round and gets 2 kills or 3 kills or pulls off a clutch that they need. Kind of firing on all cylinders. And it looks like NIP will be looking for the tie, the overtime. Sure as hell had enough of them over the last 2 events, including this one. And look at this. Look at this freedom. This is what scares me for Virtus Pro. If they get confident, if Snatch is able to do something like this, then this is a very scary Virtus Pro.
The only worry is maybe the misjudgment of what the buy actually is here. Like, the one weapon you don't want to fall into enemy hands is that AWP. And Lekro's just going to tear his face off. That's a weapon that you really don't want to be giving over to NIP early in the round. I appreciate your point, but the risk is so high. And now they look to gather up towards Mihu. He has been fantastic. 20 kills to his name already. The Deegs in the hands of this T side, and the AWP maybe going to go in first to try and find some sort of opener. In fact, they're going to be juggling it along, deciding who's going to be the one to have it, and of course it lands onto Forest.
Problem is, this might come into light later on. Forest has no pistol to use. They dropped it earlier on. Jump comes in, he's going to fall immediately here, so it's not going to matter too much. Mihu, he's going to get a second, and again, those individual plays are coming true for Virtus Pro. Snacks over towards short, gets the bomb down, to be picked back up by GetRight, who's going to miss his shot, unfortunately, and the bomb, with 20 seconds left, has yet to be planted.
Stuck in a horrible position. Lekro again, though, so crisp with the Deegs, but now GetRight, 15 seconds, there's nothing he can do. A nice attempt in that round, Lekro with a couple of wonderful Deegs, but ultimately Virtus Pro hold on. 15-7, 1 round needed to dominate this first map. But at least this time the Swedish side actually has guns in their hand.
Lekro's been hitting some really sick shots lately. The Deagle doing some serious work for him and his team. Unfortunately, just not enough. 15-7. Virtus Pro, I mean, they don't have a ton of money to spend, but they only need one more round to squeak this out. 23 kills for Veggie, 22 for Mihu. And NIP have 0 money in their bank.
Well, if they can win this round, at least that means it does put them in a position to fight back.
I mean, the upside for NIP is the next map is Nuke, and they have a 100% win rate on it. They've only played it 4 times in the last 3 months, but they have a 100% win rate. They've beaten Navion at Wendigo, Heretics, Turkey 5. Have a mixed bag of caliber of teams. Oh, and Veggie's already connecting through the smoke as well. It's going to be blocked off. Is NIP going to pick up the pace?
Yeah, they managed to gain quite a lot of control early on. Does Mihu really not have a gun? I'm hoping that's just a graphical glitch, because he's just trying to fight this without a gun. No, I think he's running back. This is a big mistake. The B site is currently completely open because Mihu forgot his gun. Luckily for him, they have not gone B, but that could have been the biggest mistake so far. Instead, he's going to get back, obviously have to clear things out, but even still, Forest has managed to get an opening pick. They now actually look to set up in towards this A site. They've got Snatchy here. He's been playing aggressive so far, and he'll find them a trade back. In fact, he wants to go back for more. He doesn't realize, though, that Plopsky managed to cross in the milliseconds he wasn't peeking. Even still, Mihu from short. There he is. He gets back there in time, and in fact, sprays down 2, looking for the 3rd as well. He has shut down this round, and potentially the map is left all onto Plopsky to do it, to save them on Mirage. He doesn't even know that Snacks is just hiding within this corner. Surely this is done, Jason.
It should be, with 30 seconds left, with 3 players to find. Well, there's the first. He still has 2 more. He's not going to expect the other player back in sight, though. This is going to be the problem. He's going to put a smoke down. Snacks to come around the corner, and Snacks not going to close it out. Plopsky with a big 2 kill to keep NIP alive. Have to find 1 more. The bomb going to go down. Mihu with 3 kills already in this round. Who will hit the shot? And it's going to be Plopsky, and somehow, for his 20th frag, he keeps NIP alive.
That was incredible. A 1v3 to keep them in the map. The money as well, we mentioned it at the beginning of the last round, is just not there for Virtus Pro. Maybe getting a little bit ahead of themselves. The thing is, for him to turn around after throwing that smoke down and still get the kill, I think it was onto Snacks in the corner. That was unreal. And Mihu should have just closed the map. That should have been it. That should have been it done. Instead, the Ninjas will live to fight another day, and while a small investment here, PHR with a little bit more spent. Forest running in. Mihu still does damage. But hopefully this will put some wind in their sails and maybe get the Ninjas back to a point where they're fighting.
Or Snacks could just hit a couple of scout shots here. No kit for Virtus Pro. So if they're going to commit to this, they're going to have to go soon. Oh, a flank coming in from Snatchy, but not really netting him much of anything. Though it looks like Snacks has connected. There we go. That's Lekro now down. The question is, will they choose to go in for this, or will they choose to just back away? Get right, just waiting on the side. He's going to take down Snacks finally, but the damage has been done out of him. It's a 3-on-2. If they can just connect the shots. 12 seconds left, though, and with no kit, this will be NIP's round, but it's still a very costly round nonetheless.
Yeah, this is ridiculous. That scout investment alone managed to get rid of 3 players. They clear the whole NIP squad. And is PHR going to be able to go back and get a gun? Because that could actually be the difference between them buying or not. They really didn't have much money left. He had $800 as that round was ending. The question is now, do they take the risk? Because even with an extra gun from him, I think it was a UMP.
Yep.
It's still not a good buy.
Well, I mean, they do have a lot of rounds still to work with, and they have gone for it. M4s galore, and Snacks on the scout. And the utility out of NIP is not good at all. Perfect flashbang comes through. Veggie again connects onto the first. And Virtus Pro take the first kill of the round yet again. NIP nowhere in a position to execute on any of these sites. Snacks gets a tag onto Plopsky at least. The B side is open, but not worth it anymore as Virtus.pro have rotated back in. Plopsky has fallen. And yet no bomb in the hands of NIP.
Yeah, the only thing is they really did over-rotate a bit
This
there.
is confusing because they're basically like pushing in towards B, pushing in towards A. Finally, it looks like someone's going to go back. That's going to be Get Right to pick up the bomb. But now it leaves it all on Forrest to look for an opener, to open up one of these sites, or on the other end for Rez to do so.
Sneaky play from Forrest. This round pretty much hinges on a play coming out from him. He should be able to get the kill in.
If he catches Get Right here, if he hears him running, that could be the bomb down, that could be the map over. Rez is actually going to be rotating back in from
He's
T-spawn.
running backwards.
And Veggie.
How does he get that kill? He wasn't even looking in the right direction. Even still, though, down. What? Just a spin around from PHR, that might be enough. Forrest needed to do something in this round, and a great shot from Geralt could save them, but it's left onto PHR. He's been quiet this whole map. He still puts it into the 1 versus 1. Snatchy back around. Rez will get the plant off. He's already hit 1 crazy shot in this round. He's waiting for the rotation from Snatchy to come in through the window. He goes, he spots his head, and as easy as you like, it is done. Snatchy wins things out, a close round. It could have gone either way, but Virtus.pro have done what they failed to do previously, and they closed out Mirage.
PHR, though, the real frag of the round for me, taking down Forrest, who has been a sneaky snake the entire time in that B site. Gave the chance for Snatchy to win that one, and Virtus.pro take the first map here today of our quarterfinal, Tom. Something I wasn't necessarily convinced would happen with the recent performances of Virtus.pro, but they've done it, and now they take it over to Nuke, 1 map away to meet up against Mouse Sports in the semifinal.
Yeah, and it's an interesting one because historically we've spoken about this map being a decent one for their team. It's also one that this current roster is actually fairly happy to play. It's not something that I think they'd be avoiding necessarily. I think there's far worse maps that could have come up within this series. Even still, though, it's one that the Ninjas are clearly happy to play. They had other option, they had other maps that they could have brought in at the time, and instead they decided to pick into Nuke.
And what's scary for me is the fact that Veggie, he stepped up in this match.
Yeah.
Last time they played
very
Nuke,
good performances
yeah,
across the board.
100%. And they played Tricked on Nuked as well on day 1, and he was the one that was kind of failing, unfortunately, inside that hut position. Such a critical position to maintain. And now that he's playing well, Mihu's playing well, Snatchy, everyone's stepping up. Nuke, there's a real good chance that they could take this in a 2-0.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how aggressive he is as well, because in this map they were quite aggressive with their plays. They were very willing to take fights. He tried to do that versus Tricked and kind of got owned.
Yeah.
Like, there were a lot of like sort of XM pushes, SMG pushes. I think he had a P90 at one point.
Yes, he did.
Like, he was playing some odd Counter-Strike. Definitely not what we normally see. The fact is, though, the Ninjas are looking a bit rough at the moment. Like, this is not the side we expect to see. They need to step up. They've got a 100% win record at the moment in the past few months. We'll see after the break if that continues.